Sophie Cunningham owned Jacy Sheldon from the same game that Marina Mabrey did the massive body slam into Caitlin Clark on. She still owns Jacy. She still owns Jacy Sheldon. And what's great is she's got a great sense of humor about it, and she's not shy about it. I mean, what are they going to do?
What happens when a league that has always been accused of being too polite, too corporate, too afraid of ruffling feathers suddenly gets a dose of raw, unfiltered attitude that feels ripped straight from an old-school NBA rivalry? That's what the WNBA just got, and it came gift-wrapped in the form of Sophie Cunningham, who didn't just play basketball last week. She practically carved her initials across the forehead of an opponent and said, "This one's mine." Now let's confirm why you even clicked on this video in the first place. You saw the headline, you saw the clip, and you thought to yourself, did Sophie right?
Sophie commits a hard foul on Jacy Sheldon. Again, as Jacy Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm gonna give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground.
Cunningham really signed a Jacy Sheldon rookie card with the words "property of Sophie Cunningham" across the front? Yes, she did. That's not rumor. That's not spin. That actually happened. The common belief has always been that the WNBA is about teamwork, solidarity.
This is kind of crazy. This one is kind of crazy. When you get Sophie Cunningham to sign a Jacy Sheldon rookie card with property of, that is crazy. That is crazy. Property of Sophie.
A kind of soft-spoken mutual respect where grudges don't live long enough to make the highlights. But here's the contrarian take. The league has been starving for exactly the opposite. Fans don't just want box scores. They want stories. They want rivalries. They want someone to protect the star everyone is tuning in to see. And Sophie? She just stepped into that role like she'd been rehearsing for it her whole life. The proof is everywhere. Fever Nation isn't just celebrating Clark's jumpers anymore. They're replaying Sophie's shoulder checks, her smirks, and
would take her rightful place as the Indiana Fever enforcer, and I believe took the first step to her becoming the second most popular player in the WNBA. Sophie Cunningham is everywhere. Arby's, walking in. She's the best looking woman walking into these WNBA arenas. I mean, black belt Barbie.
Yes, her autograph trolling Jacy Sheldon. Because when one of the most protected prospects in college hoops history suddenly became the most targeted rookie in WNBA history, Indiana needed someone to draw a line in the sand. Sophie did it with fouls, with threes, and with INK.S. Oh, here's the plan for
you go step up screen, flare on the weak side, and this is where she started her WNBA career, right here in Indiana. Mitchell, aggressive, bounces to Howard, splits the double team, finds its way to Boston.
For today's story, we're going to walk through exactly how Cunningham went from being a solid contributor to becoming Caitlin Clark's de facto enforcer. Why that single autograph carried more weight than an entire press conference, and what it means for the Fever, the league, and Jacy Sheldon's reputation that might now be permanently branded. Let's start not with the best moment, but with the second best, the play that set the stage. Indiana's game had already gone sideways. Clark was eating elbows and cheap shoves like it was part of her conditioning program. Jacy Sheldon caught her across the face, one of those oops, my bad fouls that somehow always seemed to happen when Caitlin was the defender. Then Marina Mabrey bulldozed Clark after a whistle, turning a basketball game into a linebacker drill. Most players would grumble, wave their arms at the officials, maybe do the tough guy jog back to the bench. Not Sophie. She logged the moment in her mental notebook. She was going to make someone feel it back. And when Sheldon floated to the rim later, Sophie wrapped her up, pulled her down, and made it crystal clear. If you're going to target our star, you're also going to see me. Context? It looked like a hard foul. Application? Fans in the building erupted. They weren't mad. It felt like justice. Framing? The message wasn't just to Sheldon. It was to the entire league. If referees won't protect Clark, Cunningham will. But that's only the second best moment. The best came off the court, when the stakes should have been low, when the cameras weren't supposed to find anything. Fan event, signing table, Sophie relaxed and laughing alongside Lexi Hall. A fan slides up with a Jacy Sheldon rookie card. This isn't just any request. It's bait. The whole arena had been buzzing about Sheldon's run-ins with Clark. Everyone knew Sophie had already delivered her receipts during the game. But what would she do here, with Sharpie in hand? She could have laughed it off. She could have signed her name, maybe added a heart, played the "aw shucks" role. Instead, she leaned all the way in. She scrawled across the card, "Property of Sophie Cunningham." That wasn't a signature. That was possession. That was ownership. That was the kind of moment fans screenshot, meme, and tattoo on their timelines. And that's exactly what happened. The rehook here is important. This wasn't a prank. It was a continuation of the story. A callback to the hard foul. A cliffhanger answered. And suddenly, Sophie Cunningham wasn't just Clark's teammate. She was her sworn bodyguard, the WNBA's newest character in a league that desperately needs them. And here's where it gets dangerous for the rest of the WNBA. Sophie isn't some end-of-bench enforcer who exists just to rack up fouls. She's producing. Since the break, she's been dropping double-digit nights, drilling threes like she owns the arc, and putting up 18, 20 points while still finding the time to make. Her presence known physically. Context. Enforcers in hockey or basketball history were often limited players whose entire role was intimidation. Application. Sophie can actually hoop, meaning her minutes aren't charity. They're crucial. Framing. If you're going after Clark, you're not just inviting retaliation. You're inviting retaliation from a starter who's torching you on the other end. That's a nightmare matchup, and it's here where the expectations versus reality gap really slaps. Expectation. Clark walks into the WNBA and becomes the star, but she'll need years to find teammates willing to bleed for her. Reality. Sophie Cunningham already circled her and said, "Not on my watch." Expectation. Clark's teammates will be jealous of the attention, distant in their support. Reality. Sophie is laughing at the attention, cashing it in, and making it part of her own brand. Black belt Barbie, the notary public for Indiana Fever grudges. But let's rewind again. Why did this matter so much? Because the WNBA hasn't done enough to protect Clark. That's the ugly truth. From Chindi Carter's blindside, to DeShield's hip check, to Mabry's shove, to Sheldon's repeated bumps, everybody saw the pattern. The officials rarely stepped in. The fines were cosmetic. And so the league's brightest star looked like open season. That's a dangerous precedent in any professional league. And it's the exact reason Wayne Gretzky had Marty McSorley. Jordan had Oakley. Curry has Draymond. If you don't protect the ticket gets torn. Sophie Cunningham made sure Indiana didn't make that mistake. Now, does Jacy Sheldon deserve to be the permanent villain in this story? Maybe not. She's young. Drafted 5th overall. Already. Bounced around 3 rosters before her jersey even finished shipping. But the narrative doesn't care about fairness. The narrative cares about moments. And right now, Jacy's biggest headline isn't a breakout night. It's that she got folded into Sophie Cunningham's scrapbook. Property of Sophie Cunningham. Try shaking that label off, and here's the kicker. Sophie never apologized. No soft pedal. No, my comments were taken out of context. No notes app PR spin. She doubled down. Smiled. Signed. Laughed with Lexi Hull as the crowd roared. That consistency is what makes her so powerful. Fans aren't confused about who she is. She's not trying to play two sides. She's the enforcer, the shooter, the teammate. She'll take the foul, and she'll take the open 3, all in the same quarter. Let me open another loop for you. Think about the Fever's future. Clark is already the most polarizing star in the league. Every arena she walks into is sold out. Every game she plays is a TV bump. But how sustainable is that if her body is targeted nightly? Without protection, the answer is not very. With Sophie Cunningham, suddenly you have longevity. Suddenly you have an edge. Suddenly Clark isn't fighting alone. That's the storyline Fever fans can believe in. And here's the bigger picture. Payoff. The WNBA, for all its growth, still struggles to convert casual fans. What casuals respond to isn't just play execution. It's storylines, rivalries, personalities. Sophie gave them all 3 in one autograph. That's why it blew up beyond Fever Nation. That's why it made headlines on Iowa blogs, national outlets, and fan forums. Because it wasn't just about Sheldon. It was about the WNBA finally showing it has characters, has bite, has entertainment value on par with any other league. Now let's close the loop. Sophie Cunningham came into this season as a good player, maybe even underrated. She's leaving this week as something more, Clark's shield, the Fever's edge, the WNBA's newest personality. Jacy Sheldon? Her name is now attached forever to Sophie's Sharpie. That's the reality, and maybe that's why, deep down, fans love it. Because basketball isn't just about the scoreboard. It's about moments that stick. And Sophie just delivered one that won't wash off. So the only question left is this. How much do you love Sophie Cunningham? Drop it in the comments. If you're rocking with Fever Nation, stick around, because the next chapter of this rivalry is only getting started, and you're not going to want to miss it.